In the age of COVID and climate change, we've never needed expert communicators more than we do right now.
Thanks so much for your insights this evening.
You're welcome.
Stay well.
But greater visibility brings with it a torrent of negativity. As epidemiologists and other health experts become household names, they're increasingly on the receiving end of abuse and threats.
I think we knew it was taking place, but we were really shocked by the extent to which scientists were being abused and trolled, particularly the level of death threats and threats of physical and sexual violence.
A new survey shows nearly 2/3 of Aussie science communicators have been trolled online, and it's a global trend. The journal Nature revealing that of the scientists who speak to the media, more than 40% report emotional or psychological distress, 15% have received death threats, and 60% say these attacks have made them less willing to speak out.
If scientists don't talk to the media, then they're not talking to the public, and all of us will lose out from not having access to their expertise to help us understand COVID better.
The most extreme examples have been met with extreme measures. US infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci was assigned personal guards after a barrage of death threats. And in May, a Belgian virologist was put in a safe house after a military sniper waited outside his home.
Believed to be heavily armed, Konings went missing after making threats against institutions and public figures.
There was some good news in the survey, 13.4% saying they'd had nothing but positive experiences, 71.3% saying things had been mostly positive. But there is still real concern that the noisy, threatening few could make scientists less willing to speak.
There's some really very pointed attempts to try and close us down, to actually stop us from being in the media, and I think that's the real worry.
Well, Professor Julie Leask is a researcher in immunisation communication, and she joins us now. Professor, first of all, I suppose I have to ask you about your personal experience of these abusive and threatening messages. Have you had many yourself?
Not a lot, but they're pretty intense at the moment because of the situation we're in, where immunisation is affecting so many people. But some of my colleagues have had death threats and with terribly vile language, and it's quite intimidating, I think.
And it is, of course, a small percentage of people who send these messages, but it doesn't feel like that when you're the one on the receiving end. So what does your research show about why people react like this?
There's a range of reasons. So I think most important is that with vaccination, people who don't vaccinate are quite a diverse group, and most of them are not rude, offensive, abusive, threatening people writing emails to us or tweets. They're just trying to get along with their lives. Some people are very stressed and fearful right now, particularly with the screws tightening around non-vaccination and the way that it's affecting people's everyday lives and their work. And some people just enjoy provoking others, and they've got these sort of pathological tendencies to want to be trolls and make life a misery for other people. So there's quite a wide range of motivations behind this kind of behaviour.
You do excellent work, Julie, but one of the things that's really interesting about your work is it kind of charts a bit of a middle course. Like you're very clearly saying vaccination is very important, but you also then run some quite subtle arguments about why mandating vaccines may not be the best way of achieving vaccination rates and so on. So you're kind of setting yourself up to be hated by everybody. Is that what you find, that you receive attacks from all angles?
You can get, in the same day, you can have someone saying you're undermining vaccination because you're cautioning against really hard mandates in every circumstance. And then on the other hand, you'll have people who are saying you're trying to change our lives and rule over us, you're a fascist, and we're going to come and get you kind of thing. So it is that weird space being in the middle. But I know that there are lots of people out there who are very supportive. The most important thing here is the work we do. It's about immunisation, it's about public health and keeping societies healthy and sustaining human well-being.
Well, Julie, we don't envy the position that you've been left in, but we certainly admire the work that you and all of your colleagues do. Thanks so much for speaking with us.
Thanks so much for your support.
Guys, if you think about it, if you go back 18 months, we didn't know who people like Mary Louise McLaws, Tony Blakely. There's so many of these epidemiologists that we'd never had on the show before, but they are a mainstay now for every news and current affairs program, radio, TV, podcasts throughout the country. To be thrust into the limelight the way that they have, and to conduct themselves with so much grace and measure in what has been an incredibly emotional time, I take my hat off to all of them.
Yeah, definitely. And you think about, like, I would have no doubt a similar story could be told about climate scientists, for example. So it's this thing, imagine being an expert in an area where the stuff you have to say is not nice for some people to hear. It would be a really, really hard thing.
Yeah, I'm not that smart, but I'm smart enough to know what I don't know.
Yeah, right.
And these people studied, and they gathered their expertise over many, many years. I didn't do that, not for a second. I was telling dirty jokes in pubs. So I'm happy to listen to the experts.
Pete,
Yeah, but you're the expert
you're still
on that.
doing
Hey
that.
there, it's about time you finished that video. I contractually had to wait so I could tell you to subscribe. Subscribe. I'm waiting. Now I can go home. Woo!